Thank you. Okay, so I will try to go through this presentation in 20 minutes and to cover briefly the international official reporting of animal disease in general. So how the data collection process is organized in WAHIS, and then to look more specifically at CBPP and CCPP with the report submitted, the global and regional disease status for these two diseases. And then I will briefly present also some quantitative data, which means the number of outbreaks, cases, etc., reported for the two diseases, some information we collected on surveillance implemented for the two diseases, and some conclusions. Okay, let me start with just a reminder of the data collection process through the World Animal Health Information System of WOAH. So through these systems, we are asked members to comply with legal reporting obligation as members to WOAH. So as such, members are asked to provide information through different channels through WAHIS. We have an early warning system or channel, and this is for exceptional events. So whenever there is an exceptional event, which means like the first occurrence of a disease or a recurrence after some time or a big change, epidemiological change in the country, an alert should be submitted by the country within 24 hours of confirmation if it's a listed disease. And then there are follow-up reports that are meant to be submitted weekly until the situation has stabilized or has been resolved. In complement, so on top of this early warning system, there is also another channel that is called the monitoring system, or that you might know as 6 monthly reports. So we also ask members to provide basic information on each of the 121 listed diseases that are monitored by WOAH. And for each of these diseases, each country which is member will be asked to say if the disease is present, absent, or if no information has been collected. And then if there is any type of surveillance and control implemented in the country. And for diseases that are present, we also ask to provide a summary of the number of outbreaks, cases, etc., for the semester. And with these two channels on listed disease and emerging diseases, we can have a global picture of the global animal health situation. And now I will present the situation more specifically for CBPP and CCPP. So first, we ask country to notify information, of course, but everything starts with a case definition. And this case definition is provided in the Animal Health Codes of WOAH, the standards of WOAH. For the purpose of the code, first we have the animal, the host species of interest that are defined in the standard. So they include, for CBPP, they include bovids and water buffalo. And then the code is quite clear that based on the standards, what should be reported is really when the identification of the pathogenic agent in an animal, semen, oocyte, or embryo, or in an animal for WAHIS. And then a case can also be defined as when antibodies that are not the consequence of vaccination are identified in an animal, or when deoxyribonucleic acid have been detected with pathological legend or clinical signs. For CCPP, the code also provides a case definition. So the host species of interest are defined as the goats. So we're interested in the goats infected. And here, so when they are infected by the causal agent. And there are also criteria for define what free countries are, of course. Based on these case definitions, some members have reported exceptional events. So meaning again, meaning event, first occurrence, recurrence in a country or a zone, new strain, change in the incidence of the disease, in the morbidity, mortality, etc. So in total, since 2005, when we look at the exceptional events notified for CBPP, we have received alerts from 10 countries and all from Africa. You have the list here: Central African Republic, Republic of the Congo, Gabon, Gambia, Guinea, Mauritania, Namibia, Niger, Senegal, and Zambia. And you have the outbreaks reported through these alerts on the map. So some on West Africa, as you can see, and the other in Southern Africa. 7 events were reported in 2021 and 2022 in 2 countries, Namibia and Zambia. So again, the outbreaks here are only for the exceptional events. Then we here show the same map for CCPP. So for CCPP, we have less events reported since 2005. 2 countries, so in Africa, Mauritius reported an event, and in Asia, we also had an event reported by Tajikistan. And in the recent years, 2021, 2022, there have been no exceptional event reported to WOAH. Oh, yes, sorry. Okay. So now this slide is showing the number of outbreaks that have been reported again through this alert system, so early warning only. And you see here that in terms of outbreak for CCPP in blue, we had the maximum of outbreak reported around 2009, 2010. And then for CBPP, you had several peaks over the past years with a big peak in 2022. So again, it's important to remember that we are not only asking members to report when there is something exceptional, but we also ask members to report every 6 months on all the situations, including stable situations. And this is done through 6 monthly reports. So when we look at Africa, the dashed bar, the dashed line on top shows what we expect in terms of a number of reports, number of countries submitting reports to WOAH in Africa. And the blue bars show the number of countries that actually submitted a report. So you can see that in 2017, we were close from having an exhaustive reporting from the region. And then in the subsequent years, so 2019, 20, 21, and 22, the number of reports of countries having submitted their report is lower. And this is because there is a delay in the reporting. So again, it's very important that members continue to send their 6 monthly reports in a timely manner so that we can report back on what is happening on the continent and in the world. So now let's have an overview of the global situation. This slide is showing the official status for freedom. So as Bas mentioned earlier, of course, there is an interest in Africa for CBPP, but not only. As you can see on the map, there are many countries, members of WOAH, that outside Africa have a recognized official CBPP free status. So these are the countries in green. And this is the situation as of May 2023. There are 25 members officially free and 1 member with a free zone. For CCPP, countries also have the possibility to declare freedom, but the process is slightly different. In that case, it's a self-declaration. It's not an official endorsement by WOAH, it's a self-declaration for CCPP. And as of today, there is no self-declaration of freedom for CCPP that have been submitted by members of WOAH. Now these maps are showing the disease distribution based on WAHIS information. And this is a cumulative map seen between 2005 and 2023. So now, and so it shows that all the countries that have reported presence or suspicion of the disease at least once since 2005. So the presence is shown in red. As you can see, it's mainly in Africa and Middle East, a bit in Asia as well. And there are also countries which reported suspicion, but which never confirmed, didn't confirm the disease at this stage. So 38 countries in total and 34 in Africa. The similar map here is, again, for CBPP, we are showing a similar map, but only for the recent period, so the cumulative period 2021-2023. And we see that since 2021, 60 countries in Africa have reported presence or suspicion of the disease. The countries in white are the countries for which we do not have information for this period. And now we're showing similar maps for CCPP. So in the world, in total, we have 43 countries which reported presence or suspicion of the disease to WOAH since 2005. So again, in Africa, Middle East, Asia, and you can see also a bit in Southern Europe. Some events. And if we look closer at Africa, there are 25 countries in the region which have reported presence or suspicion of the disease at least once since 2005. Looking only at the recent years, since 2021, we have 10 countries in Africa which reported at least once CCPP. These graphs are now showing the trends in terms of number of countries which reported presence, absence, or gaps of information for CBPP since 2005. So the green is the absence, the red is the presence, the dark gray is countries which submitted their report, but in their report they say we do not know the situation. And of course, you also see this decline in recent years of the overall trend because of the missing 6-monthly report or delayed 6-monthly report. The same trend for CCPP. So what we see from these two trends is that in terms of number of countries, there's no very big change that we can identify from the trends over time. When we look at the quantitative data, so the number of outbreaks, again, we start with CBPP since 2005. And here, this is the bar plot for the number of outbreaks reported each semester. So here, we can see that this number fluctuated with a maximum of 412 in the first semester of 2008. And then the situation for CCPP. So here again, a maximum of 941 in 2015 is the number of outbreaks. In recent years, we see again this decline, but it's an artificial decline. It's likely due to the missing also 6-monthly report that have not yet been submitted. Okay, of course, everything has to be put in context with the surveillance implemented in countries. So here, these maps are showing the actual surveillance measures that are reported by countries through WAHIS, focusing on the period since 2019. So here, the darker color shows that several types of surveillance are implemented in the countries, and the lighter color, light yellow, show that only one type of surveillance is implemented. So you can have one or several types of surveillance implemented, and this is the gradient. And then in white, you have the countries for which we did not receive any information of surveillance implemented in the country. Voilà, and this is okay, I think this is a map for CCPP. Sorry, there is a typo in the slide. I will correct that. So the same map now for CCPP. So in conclusion, we see that few countries reported information or exceptional events on CBPP and CCPP through early warning system over the years, which reflects a situation that is mainly stable in the continent. But to monitor this, it's really important that countries continue and regularly submit information to their 6 monthly reports to WAHIS. And at the moment, for recent years, we have some gaps of information. What we see is from the number of outbreaks, we see a bit more variability in the, sometimes there were years with peaks in the number of outbreaks, but of course this has to be put in the context of the surveillance. And what we see is that not all countries declared implementing surveillance for the two diseases. And in particular for CCPP, there are gaps in surveillance with several countries which do not implement surveillance for CCPP. Well, thank you very much. And that was all for this overview. And before finishing, I would like just to thank my colleague Paolo Tuzzani, who have prepared the slide for this presentation. So Paolo Tuzzani